Good day, everyone. I hope you all had a great, what day is today? Wednesday. My Wednesday was pretty good, I think, overall, all in all. Had to get up early. Wasn't planning on it until like right before midnight last night. Had to get up early and go to open the store. But hey, more hours, more income, which is what I need. So I took it. And things went alright. There were a few hiccups when I got there. I won't go into any detail about it, but yeah, made it through the day. Smooth sailing once the mid person came in, and I had someone back me up at that point. Pretty smooth sailing. I left there at 2. I drove up to Altamont, grabbed a bite to eat, and went to see Terminator Genisys. It was at the cheap movie theater. So I decided to go ahead and go. And I don't really understand. There's a lot of hate for Terminator 3. And I get it. It's not the classic Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Or even the original, although people like Terminator 2 better. It's not, and there are a few things that make it a little weird. Just like, for whatever reason, having the Terminator be a woman in Terminator 3. This one was weird, probably mostly because of time travel confusion. But I'm gonna do my best right here to be reviewing Terminator Genisys. It starts out in the future, basically. So I'm gonna say right up front, spoiler alert. If you don't want to know anything, I might slip up and say something. I'll try to keep it vague, but it starts out in the future. Kyle Reese, who a lot of you know, is the one who goes back in time in the original Terminator movie and protects Sarah Connor from the Terminator. Well, in this case, recast obviously, he's narrating events of his life. He was born after the and honestly, I've never seen the first Terminator all the way through. I've seen all the other ones, but I've never watched the first Terminator all the way through. And after seeing a few scenes in this one, I kind of want to go and watch it just to make comparisons, because I get the idea that a lot of what we see near the beginning, once the first time travel happens, is probably pretty close to, or maybe exactly the same as, how it may have appeared in the original Terminator movie, the first one. But at any rate, Kyle Reese was born after Judgment Day, after Skynet takes over and starts hunting and killing humans. And so he's running away. He's like a kid at this point. He's running away, and there's a Terminator coming after him. And then John Connor, this full-grown adult man that becomes his hero, he saves him from the Terminator, takes him back, and he joins the Resistance and becomes kind of John Connor's right-hand man. John Connor knows who he is because of the whole time traveling, telling people what's going on type thing. So he knows that his father is Kyle Reese and that he has to send him back, basically. So they managed to, and this is the things that were confusing, was several times they use Skynet is defeated in the movie when it's not. And I'm like, why do they say that? That's not what's going down. Like, why do you have to... So basically they take over the facility that has the time travel thing. And then they say Skynet's defeated. And then they're there figuring out how it works, and they're going to send someone back to protect Sarah Connor, which I guess John Connor knows that has to happen for everything to fall into place the right way. But at the same time, if they defeat Skynet, then that's no longer a threat, or is it? And that's the time travel makes people's minds explode with confusion. Because I honestly didn't think of these things until I'm speaking right now, and I'm like, well, wait a second. So it's defeated, so why send them back? But then everything's happening in this, like, things are going to play out the way they play out, so you do still have to send them back even though it's over. But do you? Anyway, they're sending Kyle Reese back, and suddenly something right before something attacks John Connor, grabs him by the face there, and his hand is glowing red. And it turns out it's Skynet, the main entity of Skynet, the one that makes all the calls, the brains of the operation, if you will. And he's made himself a body, a Terminator body, and he attacks John Connor, and that's all we see. Kyle Reese, suddenly, because he sees that as he's in the time warp, suddenly he remembers an alternate timeline where he was born before Judgment Day, and Judgment Day didn't happen in 1997. Apparently it happens in 2017. And they do a pretty good job of explaining that one, so that one wasn't too confusing. But to see things fall into place later in the movie gets pretty confusing. Anyway, so he can remember these things even though it's not the past that he had. He's remembering it now for some reason. He's remembering both timelines. So anyway, he shows up in 1984 like he's supposed to, like he does in the original movie, only Sarah Connor's there. She's ready for him. Apparently, there was an attempt on her life when she was 9 years old, in this version of the timeline. And also a Terminator sent back, reprogrammed Terminator sent back to save her. And so he saves her. Her parents get killed, though. And so he has to raise her. And so she calls him Pops. And it's Arnold Schwarzenegger's full character of the Terminator, because he comes back so much earlier and he's stuck and he raises her. And because the human tissue that covers his body is actual human tissue, it ages. So that's the story why he's getting older and why he looks older. Anyway, so he's trained her how to survive and everything, fills her in on everything, and then they have to go and rescue Kyle because they know he's coming back. And so they go, they save Kyle, they bring him back, they get away from another T-1000, the liquid metal ones, basically. They get away, they lure him into a trap and basically trap him in this acid bath that just makes him melt, even though he's the liquid one. Doesn't go with what he's made of, apparently. This acid doesn't. It eats right through even that. So they defeat him. They reveal to Kyle Reese that they have built their own time machine. That one was kind of skimmed over. They did. And they're going to, and so the plan is the plan was for them all to go to 1997 and stop Judgment Day from happening. Except that, number one, you can only send back organic matter, so it has to be completely covered, apparently. So even though the Terminator is sent back, and I don't know, that's one that's always confused me. It's like, because the T-1000 is not organic, but it gets sent back too, and that's the thing that makes it confusing. Anyway, so he got his hand damaged and exposed to the robotic skeleton, and so because of that, he can't go with them. At the same time, Kyle Reese reveals that he has these new memories, and that in these memories, he's reminding himself in the mirror that Genisys is Skynet, and he needs to go back to 2017 to stop Skynet from being born, before Skynet can be born, or whatever, basically is the premise. And so he has to convince Sarah to go to 2017, which is the new date of Judgment Day, when the bombs fall and everything, instead of 1997 because of the things that changed. And so finally he convinces her. They go in 2017, and Pops shows up eventually. First they transport out in the middle of the freeway and they get arrested. And Pops is coming. He's supposed to meet them there, and he was caught in traffic, he said. So so basically they're there. They've been interrogated, but they're also in the hospital being checked out because they were found naked on a freeway. And somehow John Connor, fully grown up John Connor, who had just sent back Kyle Reese earlier in that very movie, shows up inexplicably. They never really explain it, but apparently he time travels to 2014, and then he's there. But he's not himself, because when he was attacked, he was transformed into a newer version of a Terminator, basically. Basically, just it goes into his cells and transforms all of his cells into some sort of human-robot hybrid, invincible, unstoppable monster. And it was pretty crazy to see the things he could survive. But at first they think it's him, they believe it's him, and it is actually him. He's just now under the control of Skynet, and his mission, as he's sent forward in time sent back in time to 2014, is to make sure Skynet launches, to ensure Skynet launches. That's his task that he's sent back with. So now the savior is the Doom, basically. And Kyle, Sarah and Kyle Reese. Kyle has a little more trouble than Sarah does about it, having to kill John Connor, because he's not really John Connor anymore. He is, but he's not. And so that's another thing, is Sarah agreed to it way too easily. I thought. Anyway, so they reconnect. Well, they find that out. Pops actually figures it out. And so they manage to get away, and he's chasing them, and they get away, and he's chasing them. They go to a safe house that he knows about, so he shows up there. So they try to blow him up, and he chases them. They get on a school bus, go across a bridge. He chases them. He gets on the school bus. He throws Pops off the school bus. He flips the school bus, and then the school bus falls off the bridge. Pops saves Sarah and Kyle, but John goes into the water. But he's fine. He'll be back. No problem. He's practically unstoppable. In fact, I don't really understand. There's some sort of magnetic field, something that they said would cause him trouble, but still wouldn't defeat him. But it would be more effective than bullets. So Pops creates this magnetic glove, kind of, and so every time he punches him, he does a lot of damage to John Connor. Anyway, this is going long. It's gonna be a long one. I probably should have expected it to be long, the movie itself, but also this review, this vlog. So then they basically go to Skynet, and insanity ensues. They try to blow up Skynet. Skynet itself starts getting smarter, realizing what's happening, and evolving. And the time countdown goes from 14 hours to 14 minutes to 4 minutes. As Skynet gets smarter, it realizes it needs to move with the timetable of the launch of Genisys. Genisys is a device that, or is an operating system that links everything everyone has together, basically. And over 1 billion people have pre-ordered Genisys, so that many people are going to help create Judgment Day, basically, bring it about, unless they can stop the launch of the software. It's a virus, basically. But it's also what releases Skynet out into the world. So first they try to blow up all the mainframes. Skynet slows them down, and then John Connor shows up. And basically they've got everything planted, and Sarah's got the detonator, but John gets hurt, so she throws the detonator to Pops. And she's like, blow it up. And he's supposed to, he knows he needs to, but his prime directive and programming is to protect Sarah Connor at all costs. So he can't flip the switch to kill Sarah, basically. And so Kyle comes, and Pops tries to give him the detonator so he can do it, but John Connor gets involved and manages to destroy the detonator. So now they have no way to blow up all of these bombs, and so they decide they have to get closer and actually blow up the time thing itself and take out the whole facility and Skynet in that way. And so they start trying to get their way to there, but Skynet's closing all the doors and blocking them, and John is basically fighting Pops this whole time. John and Pops back and forth. Eventually Pops manages to get him into the time thing, using the magnetic glove thing, whatever, and they have to activate it, basically. And since I don't even know, do they send them somewhere? Do they not send them somewhere? Somehow it doesn't send them anywhere. It's not ready yet, that's right. It's not ready for time travel yet. So instead of sending them somewhere, it just destroys them. Only Pops manages to get knocked out, fall into some liquid metal, and that's the last we see of him. John and Sarah go down to a bunker. Kyle and Sarah go down to a bunker. The explosion happens. Everything's wiped out. Then they're trapped in there. They got to figure out how to get out. Sarah's struggling with the idea that she doesn't have to worry about Skynet anymore. She can do whatever she wants. Pop shows up, but now he's shapeshifter. They don't explain that one either. He's like, I've just been upgraded. Just because he fell into that stuff. It doesn't make much sense, but a lot of things didn't make sense. And I guess I can see that's why a lot of people complained about the movie. Like I said, I enjoyed it completely. And yeah, and then the only thing left to do is they have to go and they have to tell young Kyle Reese all the things that he needs to know, so that when he's older, in the other timeline, when he switches over, he can remember everything that he's supposed to remember, so that he can then do all these things, basically. And so it's a lot of making sure this is going to happen, but at the same time preventing this from happening and this from happening. So it was a lot of preserve the timeline and stop the timeline, and it just conflicted a lot, I thought. But the presentation, aside from the gaping holes as far as common sense and making sense goes, there were a few there. But if you not really into those kind of things, then you probably just enjoyed it as an action movie, which is what it was. So I recommend checking out Terminator Genisys. This vlog has gone on long enough, 19 minutes, wow. So, sorry about the long one, guys. Hope you enjoyed my review. And like I said, I recommend you check it out. So I'm going to call it a vlog here. So, good night, everyone. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back.